Welcome back to the Football Forecast. Tuesday, June 30th, and the 2026 World Cup knockout stage is in full swing. We have already seen Belgium put 5 past New Zealand, England advance past Panama, Croatia edge out Ghana, and Argentina cruise past Jordan 3-1. Now it is Tuesday's turn, and we have 2 round of 32 matches that tell completely different stories about what this knockout stage is becoming. Ivory Coast faced Norway at AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas, at 1 p.m. Eastern. Then France take on Sweden at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey at 5 p.m. Eastern. And before we get into either analysis, here is the team news story that is reshaping how you read the first match on today's card. Norway made 10 changes for their final group stage game against France. 10. Erling Haaland, Martin Ødegaard, both rested. Both left on the bench while a completely reshuffled Norwegian lineup took the field and lost 4-1. Ståle Solbakken explained the decision publicly, player recovery data. Fatigue indicators, the need to arrive at the knockout stage, physically fresh. It was a decision that sparked enormous controversy and cost Norway the chance to face France with their full squad. But here is the thing. It also means Norway arrive at AT&T Stadium today with their 2 best players, having not played a single competitive minute in their last match. Haaland is fully rested. Ødegaard is fully rested. And Ivory Coast have to deal with both of them from the first whistle. We break down both matches completely, how they got here, who is in, who is out, and what the data says. And here's my personal take on that rotation decision. Solbakken took a massive gamble. Match 1, Ivory Coast versus Norway. AT&T Stadium, Arlington, Texas. Norway have not won a World Cup knockout match since 1998. That is 28 years of group stage exits. 28 years of arriving at tournaments and going home before the knockout rounds. When they finally reached a round of 32 match again, there was a legitimate question about whether Solbakken's controversial rotation against France had been worth the criticism. Today is when that question gets answered. On team news, Norway's situation coming into this match is unlike almost any other team in the round of 32. They are not managing injuries. They are not dealing with fatigue. They are not trying to reintegrate players who have been carrying knocks. They are, by deliberate and calculated design, the freshest squad in the entire knockout draw today. Haaland has played 2 full competitive matches at this tournament, 2-0 against Senegal, 3-2 against Iraq, and scored 4 goals in those 2 games. He is the tournament's joint top scorer, and he has had 6 full days to rest, recover, and prepare for 90 minutes against Ivory Coast's defence. Ødegaard, as captain, is the creative centre of everything Norway do, with the ball his press-resistant touch, his ability to operate in tight spaces and shift the tempo of a game, and his range of passing from deep positions are all functions that Norway struggle to replicate from any other player in their squad. He is back. Both of them are back, and they are walking into this match carrying none of the physical accumulation that most teams in this stage of the tournament have built up through 3 group games. Alexander Sørloth, the Atletico Madrid forward, is the 3rd piece of Norway's attacking trident. He doesn't get the headlines Haaland does, but his movement and hold-up play create the space that allows Haaland to operate. If Ivory Coast's defenders focus all their attention on Haaland, Sørloth will punish them. Ivory Coast arrive with their own story. They started Group E with a 3-1 win over Curacao, Evann Guessand leading the attack, Franck Kessié providing the midfield engine, Simon Adingra causing problems from the wide right channel. Then a 0-2 loss to Germany exposed their defensive vulnerabilities against technically superior high-pressing opposition. And then they drew 1-1 with Ecuador, Kessié scoring from the penalty spot, and that point was enough to put them 2nd in Group E. Their campaign has been inconsistent, but they are physically powerful, genuinely dangerous from set pieces. And Ousmane Diomandé at the back has been one of the most assured defenders in this group stage. The motivation driving Ivory Coast tonight is also worth naming directly. Ivory Coast have never beaten a European nation in a World Cup knockout match. Not once. Tonight is the first time they have had the opportunity, and Emersfi will have made sure every player in that dressing room is fully aware of what this match means, beyond simply advancing to the last 16. He left out experienced names like Sebastian Haller in favor of younger, hungrier players like Guessand and Amad Diallo. That takes courage. And in knockout football, a unified squad that trusts the system is often more dangerous than a collection of individual stars. The key individual battle in this match is Haaland against Ivory Coast's central defensive block. Diomandé will be the primary marker, and he is physically capable enough to compete with Haaland in aerial duels and hold up play battles. But Haaland's movement, the way he drops short to receive, turns defenders with one touch, and then generates danger from positions that should not be dangerous, is simply at a level that no domestic-based squad has consistently dealt with at this level. Ivory Coast have several players from overseas leagues in their squad, but none of them have experience managing a striker of Haaland's specific physical and technical combination. If Ivory Coast's fullbacks maintain their defensive shape and prevent the crossing service that Haaland thrives on, they limit his dominance. But Ødegaard's ability to find Haaland, with passes that arrive perfectly weighted into his movement, makes that a near impossible task to sustain for 90 minutes. Ivory Coast's best route into this match is the set piece. They scored from a dead ball situation against Ecuador. And Norway's defensive organisation, when defending corners and free kicks, has not been airtight through their group games. If Diomandé or Guessand can generate aerial contact from a delivered corner in the 65th minute, with the game still live, Ivory Coast have a chance. If this match is still 0-0 at half-time, it becomes genuinely open. Head-to-head, these two nations have met exactly once, a 2014 friendly in which Norway won 2-0. That result carries zero relevance to today's match. Our assessment: Norway's roster quality, combined with their calculated freshness advantage, makes them the clear, stronger side on the day. Haaland and Ødegaard returning to the lineup simultaneously after being rested is arguably the biggest tactical advantage any team holds in today's round of 32. Ivory Coast will be physical, they will target set pieces, and they will fight for every ball. But Norway's quality in possession through Ødegaard, and their finishing quality through Haaland and Sørloth, give them multiple routes to goal against any defensive structure. Norway 2-0 or 2-1. Haaland scores, Ødegaard creates, and Norway end 28 years of knockout stage absence. But Ivory Coast will have their moments, and if this game reaches the 70-minute mark with Norway only one ahead, be prepared for a finish that keeps everyone watching until the final whistle. Now let us move to match 2. France vs Sweden. MetLife Stadium, New Jersey. 5 p.m. Eastern. France, 9 points. 10 goals scored. 1 goal conceded. 3 wins from 3. They are the most statistically complete team at this entire 2026 World Cup, and it is not particularly close. Their 4-1 victory over Norway, even acknowledging that Norway fielded a heavily rotated side, was a performance of absolute ruthlessness. Kylian Mbappé, with 4 tournament goals. Ousmane Diomandé, the reigning the best FIFA Men's Player Award winner, providing creativity and width from the right. A defensive structure anchored by Dayot Upamecano and managed through Aurélien Tchouaméni that has barely been threatened. Didier Deschamps has managed this squad perfectly, no major injury concerns coming out of the group stage, no accumulated fatigue issues, and a squad depth that allows him to rotate in any position without dropping the quality level noticeably. On team news for France, there are no significant absences or injury concerns. Deschamps has his full first-choice squad available. The selection decisions tonight are purely tactical, which combination of Mbappé, Dembélé and Bradley Barcola best suits the approach against Sweden's specific defensive shape. France's luxury is that every answer to that question produces a world-class lineup. N'Golo Kanté, S. Energy and experience alongside Tchouaméni in midfield gives France both a defensive cover and the ball-winning intensity to prevent Sweden from building through the middle. One thing I find fascinating about this France squad: Deschamps has been ruthless in his selections. Antoine Griezmann, a World Cup winner and one of France's greatest ever players, is not in this squad. Neither is Kolo Muani. Deschamps has prioritized form and fitness over reputation. And that kind of managerial ruthlessness is exactly what wins tournaments. Sweden arrive at MetLife Stadium, having already exceeded the expectations of many neutral observers. They advanced as one of the best third-place teams in Group F. But the way they got there tells an important story about their character. After a respectable 1-1 draw with Japan in their opening match, they were dismantled 5-1 by Netherlands. 5-1, that is a result that breaks squads psychologically. That is the kind of scoreline that can hollow out a team's belief before a critical third game. Instead, Sweden responded with a 4-0 demolition of Tunisia, their biggest win at a World Cup in years. Alexander Isak scored, Victor Gyökeres scored twice, Anthony Elanga was electric from the wide right channel. And Sweden played with the energy and directness that Graham Potter has built his entire national team identity around. A team that responds to a 5-1 humiliation with a 4-0 bounce back 3 days later does not lack for mental strength. But the tactical reality is stark. Sweden's defensive vulnerability is on the right side of their back four. That is not an internal coaching insight. It is visible from watching their 3 group stage matches. Whenever Sweden's right back is exposed in 1-against-1 situations, their central defensive coverage is slow to compensate. Mbappé operates predominantly from the left side of France's attack. He will be positioned to run directly at Sweden's right back all evening. And his acceleration over 5 to 10 meters in transition is among the fastest recorded at this World Cup. Isak on the other end is Sweden's best individual threat. His pace and composure in front of goal make him the one player who can genuinely trouble Upamecano if he receives a clean through ball. But France's defensive structure is built to prevent exactly those situations. And Tchouaméni's ability to read those passes before they are played has been a consistent feature of their group stage performances. Head-to-head, France lead the all-time series with 11 wins against 5 for Sweden across 20 meetings. Sweden's only World Cup victory against France came in the group stage in 2012. France have won 4 of their last 5 competitive meetings. The one historical context that gives Sweden some belief is that their most recent win against France, a 2017 friendly 2-1, showed they are capable of performing at this level. But friendly results and tournament knockout performances are very different propositions. I'll be honest, Sweden are missing some key creative pieces. Dejan Kulusevski is out with a long-term knee injury. Without him, Sweden lack that incision in the final third. Isak and Gyökeres is a brilliant, but they need service, and Sweden's midfield without Kulusevski is noticeably less creative. That's a gap France will exploit. Our assessment. France are the overwhelming stronger side, and the data across every metric: goals scored, goals conceded, pass completion rate, press intensity, individual quality across all 11 positions supports that assessment. The realistic scenario for Sweden's advancement requires France to be complacent, which Deschamps does not allow, or for Isak to produce the individual performance of his life while Sweden's defense holds for 90 minutes. That combination is possible, but requires Sweden to operate at the absolute ceiling of their capability, while France operate below theirs. France 2-0, or 3-1. Mbappé scores his 5th tournament goal. Dembélé adds an assist, or goal of his own. And France advanced to the last 16 as one of the clear favourites to go deep into this tournament. Sweden's score if Isak gets his one clear chance, but a single goal is not enough. 2 matches. 4 nations. Norway breaking 28 years of knockout drought, with Haaland and Ødegaard back and fresher than any other duo at this stage of the tournament. France, using their perfect group stage as a platform to advance and set up what could be a historic run through the knockout rounds. And in both cases, the underdogs Ivory Coast and Sweden have already made this World Cup mean something for their countries just by being here. Drop a comment right now and tell me your predictions for both matches today. Is Ivory Coast going to be the team that finally causes the first major upset of the knockout stage? And do you think Sweden have what it takes to stop the most complete squad at this tournament? Hit subscribe right now and turn on the notification bell. We are covering every single round of 32 match with full tactical analysis, and the bracket is moving fast. Follow us across all our socials for live score updates and post-match reaction as today's results come in. This is the Football Forecast. We will see you in the next one.